We'd like to start telling you who we are exactly, what is this master degree about, and uh, and maybe later you can give us like an approach of what we are looking for. I am Pedro. I'm from Peru. Here is Charlotte from Taiwan. Lucia from Spain. We are from different countries, and the master is a global entrepreneurial management. So we try to approach to each company in different countries, in different areas, to have a feeling of how they started, what was the philosophy at the beginning, at the end, what make them do what they do. And this is the first time actually that we're talking with someone who created a B corporation company. So we are very thrilled about that. And first, I would like to ask you, for example, who are you? Like, if you can make a presentation of yourself.
I am the director of community and sustainability. So my role oversees both like customer experience and what that means, but also sustainable development. And then the B Corp certification, we launched in April of 2020, which was as the pandemic hit the US. And we found that, while we were deciding how we wanted to launch at this really unique and unprecedented time, that it was like the perfect moment to do B Corp certification because we had time at home and we had, the ability to focus on a big project like that. So it is a big project, and I'm happy to answer more questions about it. But yeah, it took us about 6 months to fully answer the questions and put the documentation together. And then once we certified, we were in a waiting queue for almost another 9 months, and then it took another 3 months to certify finally. So like a year and a half.
Another question that we wanted to ask you is when did you actually enter the B Corporation and why was this for? Like, why do you wanted to enter the B Corporation?
Yeah. So we submitted our initial certification request with everything filled out. It's a survey essentially, a very long survey. In August of 2020. So that was the kickoff of the filing for B Corp. And why we wanted to do it is because we had created this company that was about protecting the planet and protecting people through furniture, and that means so many different things for us. So one, we are a rental model, so we're participating in the circular economy and bringing products out of the waste system and letting people share them. We are also partnering with independent sustainable designers, so we're bringing these artists who are working ethically and working with manufacturers who are producing ethically to a wider audience by giving them a platform to do that and sell their work. We do have a purchase program as well, so you don't have to rent, you can purchase, but you're still acquiring furniture that's made to last. All of our products have a minimum 50-year guarantee. But most often they'll last hundreds of years once they're taken care of properly. Additionally, we have antique and vintage. So those products I think our oldest product is from 1790, and it's been in existence for hundreds of years. And so that's another part of our mission that really aligns with B Corp's values. And so for us, B Corp is the gold standard. It's not only saying that you are talking the talk, you're proving that you're walking the walk. And so we wanted to have an independent third party, really validate what we were doing and our mission. And then also look at our business more holistically. Obviously it's not just the product we sell, but it's how we treat our employees. It's our governance structure. It's, measuring our carbon internally. So it looked at a lot of areas of the business and kind of went beyond the message of the service that we sell to our consumers.
Imagine nobody knows about the company. How would you actually explain what the company is about?
So ZZ-Driggs is a furniture platform. We specialize in high-end, antique, collectible, and contemporary furniture. So you can come to us and find a resource for not only emerging talent in the contemporary furniture space, but also incredible antiques and vintage pieces that we've curated. And we offer a variety of ways to access that furniture. If you're in the New York area, you can rent it from us for various rental terms, short term or long term. All of your rental payments go towards the buyout. So if you rented it for a year and you decided that you wanted to own it, we would just calculate how much you paid in rental payments and from the buyout price, and then you'd own it. We also offer purchases, so we can ship anything nationwide. And we work with businesses, so we also offer staging and design services to businesses and consumers who are looking to do bigger projects.
So, after telling us a little bit about the background, could you tell us, like, for example, a difficult situation that the company has gone through?
You know, launching in April of 2020 was absolutely the biggest challenge we had. You know, New York at the time was completely shut down, and I'm sure you might have heard stories about, you know, COVID coming into New York first, and the real, you know, emergency that we had. And so it was definitely a scary and bold statement to launch a company at that moment, but, you know, and we didn't know what the outcome would be necessarily. But we knew that we had to put ZZ out there in a way that was, you know, both bringing the concept and the brand, you know, in front of people, but also doing it safely. And so for us, it was, the decision we made was just to be really small and intentional about who we were offering it to in the beginning, and making sure we were fulfilling the customer's needs, but not really launching with the full product offering. So we started by going to upstate New York and Long Island for our rental service, because many people in New York flocked outside of the city during COVID. But we also knew that, you know, those houses and delivering to those locations would be a little bit safer than delivering to apartments and, you know, compacted spaces in the city. So that was one choice that we made when we launched. And then the second was just like being as obviously safe for our delivery workers as we possibly could, knowing the information we had. So as you may remember, there was a lot of information flowing, policies were changing all the time. And that was really challenging for us. But what we just did is we just kept on the news. We were checking COVID rates, zip codes. We were, you know, on the CDC's website every day, making sure we were up to date with what they were recommending, and then just making those changes to make sure everybody was safe, like on a weekly basis. And so that was absolutely challenging, and something that, you know, normal businesses aren't making those changes so often. But you know, for us, obviously, the health and safety of the community is paramount. So we ended up being able to service outside locations successfully. And nobody got sick. We had, you know, no instances of transmission on our team or in our community, which was really great. As long as, you know, we were just being super intentional about what services we were offering.
What do you think are the critical actual needs of your company?
Right now, we are pushing the business into the world beyond New York in a more significant way. So we're really thinking about how can we put ZZ in front of our community outside of New York City. We've done a lot of marketing and a lot of outreach in New York specifically, but expanding beyond that and making sure that we are seen across the country as a resource for furniture is really what we're focusing on right now.
Could you tell us more about the business model of the company?
So the business model is a platform to access high-end sustainable furniture. Again, we do this in a couple different ways. So there's the rental aspect with buyout, so you can rent and then purchase at the end of your rental. And that, for us, you know, is number one, important to give people a way to acquire high-end and sometimes expensive pieces in a more accessible way. So that's, you know, great for one market. It's also great for people who are moving around and businesses who need things for a short period of time. They don't have to buy a ton of furniture. If they only need it for a few months, then they figure out how to get rid of it. Maybe it goes to a landfill. We don't want that to happen. So the rental piece is really solving both flexibility, but also being able to acquire furniture at just a much easier and lower cost monthly. And then the purchase side of the business, which we also offer, is really great for people who know that they want a piece and they can pay upfront for it. You and me, we wanted to go buy something on the site. And then also for designers and you know, interior designers in real estate. Maybe they work on staging projects and they want to build their collection. Maybe they're working with a client and they want to, furnish a house and they're working with us in that model. So the business is overall about high-end sustainable furniture and giving people a way to access it. And it's curated as well. Of course, we have a great design eye. But how you acquire it, there are many avenues to do that.
And how is the company sustainable?
For us, our sustainability is a really holistic aspect of the business. So it's of course the product that I was speaking about. It's sourcing from designers who are only working with manufacturers of a certain caliber in a certain way using certain materials. So there's that aspect of the sustainability of what we do. It's also internal sustainability, so making sure that the employees that work at ZZ are supported and getting time off when they need it. We have very strict working hours. We have very strict communication guidelines. Essentially making sure that the employees and the people who are building and running the company are feeling fulfilled and their lives are sustainable for however they want to live. We're internally sustainable for families. If you're a working mom or a working dad, the company still functions for you. Often startups don't work that way. They're very maybe known for people really grinding the midnight oil a lot. And so for us, it was important to have that internal sustainability. And then additionally, our practices overall. So we do carbon auditing, so we capture and offset all of our carbon that we're using at the end of the year. Our warehouse practices are, part of that. We use reusable blankets and straps in all of our packaging, so there's zero waste in our rental delivery packaging, which is cool. And then, I think it really kind of bleeds into every aspect of the business in big and small ways. So it's always top of mind when we're building new programs and new initiatives.
We were wondering how the actual business idea arose from or came from.
So this is Whitney's idea. She's our founder and CEO, Whitney Hall. She, worked at Jefferies, which is a big hedge fund. You may know in her past, career, and part of what she did was looking at companies like Wayfair and other big furniture players and their business models. And what she found was that a lot of these big furniture companies built into their economics and their business model is the disposal of furniture, because then they can bring new customers in. So if a product only lasts for 3 years, that's great for them, because then they have to come back to Wayfair and buy another one. And then that product goes to the trash. And so I think she was really shocked by that and disheartened by the fact that these big players were making money and part of their business model, and they're incentivized to, essentially, have customers dispose of their products at the end of the day. And so I think renting was very new at the time, and I think she was thinking about how do we not only, stop that cycle, but offer a new way to acquire furniture. It's really expensive for most people. We can't compete with Wayfair pricing, but how do we make it accessible for that type of person who can only spend a certain amount? And so that's where the rental piece came in. And then she had also previously, after working at Jefferies, worked in interior design, had her own business, was working with a lot of friends and other big businesses, across consumers and enterprise clients, on furnishing their spaces. Hyperloop One she worked on, the MetLife building she worked on, a lot of big players. And so she really saw a need for high-end design in both the consumer market and in the enterprise market. And so I think ZZ was born out of her past experience and those two things really coming together.
So how did you actually came out with the name?
The name came from Whitney, and ZZ is a plant. It's a Zanzibar gem, sometimes called. And the ZZ plant, if you don't know, highly recommend picking one up. They're very easy to care for. They're very resilient plants. They also survive in like little to no light, so they're great for apartments. But what makes the ZZ plant so special is that they actually filter toxins out from your air. So we love that this really, sturdy, this really hardy, beautiful plant is also cleaning the air for us while while we're living in it. And often traditional furniture that isn't ethically made or sustainably made includes a lot of toxins in the materiality, in the glues. There are fiber protectants on the fabric that include, cancer-causing chemicals, and that's been proven. Even the wood particles, sometimes things are made as DF, and that includes chemicals to make that board. And then the Driggs part of the name came from the street in Brooklyn called Driggs Street, and that was Whitney's first apartment when she moved into New York. So it's a combination of both the plant that we kind of call our namesake plant, and then a bit of Whitney's heritage and her a little bit of her history in there as well.
Next question I want to ask is, what do you think is the most social and environment benefit at your company?
The most important environmental aspect of what we're doing is, one, making sure that we're getting products out of landfills at the end of the day. So our rental model is making it really easy to rent furniture in a short period of time, and then bringing things hopefully in a significant way out of landfills. Additionally, the standards we have of the products we buy, we're incentivizing our community, both our customers and our suppliers, to purchase more certified woods, more recycled metals, more organic fabrics, and for us that's really significant, because we really want to change consumer minds. We want to make sure that people know what's in their products, and then we're also incentivizing them to make better choices down the road. And then on the social side of what we're really hoping to accomplish with ZZ is, again, like in the manufacturing of our products, making sure that there's a living wage across the supply chain. So very easy sometimes when you're forcing to not fully understand the supply chain. Maybe you're purchasing from a particular designer and they say, yeah, my employees are paid fairly, but are they outsourcing certain parts of that manufacturing product to somebody else, and they're not checking on that aspect of the social aspect of those supply chains. So drilling into where things are coming from and making sure every nut and bolt and fabric has been sourced from a manufacturer or company that is paying people fairly and providing them benefits is really important to us as well.
How do you maintain or keep the furniture's quality when the customers give it back?
All the products have warranties that are at least 50 years, if not longer. So there's already that baked into it. We find that most consumers really do treat these products well. Like, they do care about the furniture that's in their house. And so we're really finding that people aren't neglecting their furniture. They're not treating it badly, especially because they see how beautiful it is. And then once things come back to us, we do have a restoration process as well. So all upholstery is professionally cleaned with a partner that uses non-toxic cleaners as well. So it's all organic detergents. And then for any wood pieces or antiques, we have a trained in-house team. So our warehouse team is trained to fix certain things, but then we can also outsource to restoration partners as well. And so we can fix anything from like light scratches that we can all fix that in-house, to larger, gashes, maybe some leg fell off, or, who knows, but that very rarely happens. And when it does, we can always fix it, because a big part of specifically on the case goods, the wood side, we don't source anything that isn't hardwood, solid. And when something's solid, hardwood, you can fix it. You can sand it down, you can replace it, you can restain it. And so again, like that sourcing piece is super important to make sure that we can fix almost anything.
So we also wanted to ask what would be the company's plan or like next steps that the company is trying to do.
I think as far as the next steps of the company and our plan, we've recently expanded the team in a really significant way. We've brought on quite a few new people, which is exciting. It's really exciting to hire and bring in fresh minds and fresh ideas. And I think for us, because as you know, the pandemic has really quieted down in the last few months, especially, and we're learning to live with it. I think we're feeling really excited and confident about pushing ZZ out in a bigger way. So we have a business development director who is focusing on expanding our business offering for staging apartments before they go on the market. We're working with a lot of TV and film decorators to offer our product short term for TV and film. And then we're also, working with a lot of real estate agents who can refer us not only to other stagers, but also to clients who maybe need furniture in their new homes. That's on the business side, which is exciting for us. And then on the consumer side, we just brought on a director of marketing who is working on both our social channels and our email marketing to expand our reach across the country. So we've gotten people trickling in and saying like, hey, do you offer rentals in Texas or California? And I think we definitely have seen interest across the nation, but we haven't done, we haven't like forced ourselves out there. And so what happens if we really try and find those markets and be really conscious about where we're finding those people? Who's gonna come in the door? I think we're really excited to kind of put ourselves out there for that consumer market because maybe they haven't heard of us yet, but we would be great in California and LA maybe. I think we've gotten a lot of good feedback about our services coming to LA, so that's something we're excited about too.
You have a lot of like successful cases. So how you find the partner in the 30 Rockefeller Center and the MetLife buildings? Like there are a lot of like successful case I saw like in your website. So I was like, oh, it was so amazing. So how you have the partnership with them?
Yeah, it's hard to get your foot in the door with them. Whitney specifically built that relationship with MetLife and Hyperloop One. So I think, she had been working at Jefferies, so she had some contacts in these big companies. And she's a very good networker. I think getting your foot in the door is like really about networking and putting yourself in front of the right people and, never saying no to an opportunity to maybe meet somebody. And so I think that's really how she started building those relationships at first, slowly, but, really getting her foot in the door at any moment she could. And now, we've been able to get some bigger companies who, work with us. Like we've worked with Netflix recently and FX and Disney on the rental side, and then Compass, which is a big real estate company, and then a few others as well. But some of them have come naturally. So, we have great SEO, which is search engine optimization. So some people can find us naturally, and that's really exciting. And then we're also all relying on our own industry contacts. So it's not just Whitney putting her face out there. It's me. It's everybody else who works at ZZ pulling from their pools of previous jobs and friends and family, to get our foot in the door whenever we can.
The materials is very important for the furniture. So how you choose the supplier? How you pick it?
So that Whitney selected the most of our first 12 suppliers that came onto the platform. And they were people that she had worked with, or, she'd gone to trade shows, she went to, design events and people that she found through those places. And then once she kind of selected the first 12, it was important that they were excited to work with us. So it had to be a mutual partnership. And then once everybody's on board, they went through a questionnaire, like an auditing process essentially. So they had to provide us with information not only about what the products are made of, but where are they sourcing everything, who is their manufacturer. If they're using an outside manufacturer, can you confirm that, again, these workers are paid a living wage? Can you confirm that they have health care and benefits? If it's their own internal manufacturer, then that's great. It's a little bit easier, but again, chasing that supply chain all the way down to the end is something that we had to do before officially onboarding them. And then, now a little bit further down the line when we're looking for suppliers, it really, again, it comes from like our sourcing team, not only just doing research, but also their own pools of people that they've worked with in the past. But what's most important before we bring anybody on is that they go through that auditing process. Because there's a lot of greenwashing out there, so you can say something's sustainable or whatever, green. You really have to ask hard questions, and you have to ask very pointed questions to know if that's true or not.
I think you could solve all our questions, and I think that will be all for us for today. We want to thank you again very much. Thank you very much because of your time, because of the viability of your answers, and I think that will be all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. It's really exciting to see students interested in B.Corps. I think in the future, I hope that all big companies are B corporations, because it's the only way to know that they're really doing good for the world, and so that's my hope.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Have a great
Goodbye.
one.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.